Good afternoon to all of you joining from Israel, and good evening to those of you joining from Indonesia, Singapore, and Australia. It's wonderful to see so many people here today from Israel and Indonesia to mark the end of our fourth Israel-Indonesia Futures program. We've been running leadership programs at the Israel-Asia Center for the past 13 years, building future leaders and force multipliers in Israel-Asia relations. And for us, Indonesia was always a priority country. Indonesia is home to the world's fourth largest population at almost 280 million people, the world's largest Muslim majority country, Southeast Asia's largest economy, and is tapped to become the world's fifth largest economy by 2030. Israel, meanwhile, is the world's only Jewish state and a global center for innovation and technology. While there are economic and business activities between the two countries under the radar, the huge potential for what we can develop together is still largely untapped. But the lack of diplomatic ties always meant that running a program between the two countries was no easy logistical matter. And it got me thinking, what if we could change the reality? And then, with the global transition from in-person to online meetings during COVID, barriers broke down overnight. For the first time, this presented an opportunity to run a virtual program to bring together leaders from both countries to learn about each other's cultures and countries and explore how to build practical partnerships. We launched the first Israel-Indonesia Futures program at the beginning of 2021, amid rumors of talks between Israel and Indonesia and a feeling of hope and excitement for what could be, especially having witnessed the establishment of diplomatic ties between Israel, the UAE, Bahrain, and Morocco as part of the Abraham Accords. During this 4-month online program, participants discover the tremendous untapped potential and synergies that exist between these two nations and work together to develop Israel-Indonesia initiatives while forging peer-level and high-level partnerships in the process. In September of last year, Israel and Saudi Arabia were deeply engaged in normalization talks. I was in Indonesia at the time, meeting with business leaders, government officials, and senior advisors to government ministers, all of whom were watching these developments closely and were cautiously optimistic about what a Saudi-Israel deal could mean for Israel and Indonesia and eventual normalization of relations. Then, on October 7th, everything changed when Israel was brutally attacked by Hamas, leading to a war on multiple fronts. We had been all set to start recruiting for a 2024 program, but among heightened tensions, we turned to our Indonesian alumni to ask, could we even run the program this year? Their answer, you have to run the program this year, now more than ever. We can't let years of relationship building go to waste. But while previous programs had focused on tech, innovation, business, and social impact, our Indonesian alumni were insistent that this year we needed to address the difficult issues head-on, incorporating sessions on Israeli history, politics, the conflict, as well as key issues in Indonesian news and public discourse. Within 2 weeks, we completely redesigned and adapted the program and incredibly found ourselves with more participants on the program than ever before. Despite the tensions and animosity in the media, it seemed that people from both countries simply wanted to engage and better understand each other. And so today marks the end of the 4th cohort of this program, with 20 graduating fellows, 10 from Israel and 10 from Indonesia. Our 2024 fellows comprise established and emerging leaders across a range of sectors from business and investment, education and academia, international relations and innovation diplomacy, government and international development, interfaith relations, media, and tech. While few of us have met in person, we have already formed trust, strong bonds of friendships, and fruitful partnerships. And in these tumultuous times, against the backdrop of Indonesia's presidential elections and the Israel-Hamas war, this is no small thing. Today's fellows will join our growing community of Israel-Indonesia visionaries and changemakers, now numbering in the hundreds. So, what has happened over the past 4 months? Well, every Sunday, the whole group met for online seminars, learning about each other's countries from Israeli and Indonesian leaders, from business, innovation, technology, media, government, and social impact, encompassing the history, cultures, economies, innovation ecosystems, and current events of both countries, as well as Israel-Indonesia trade and economic ties, and exploring potential for co-innovation, partnership building, and investment. Meanwhile, we also ran workshops for the fellows, providing them with the cultural know-how and professional tools to successfully navigate each other's ecosystems. Fellows organized themselves into 5 binational teams of 4 people, comprising 2 Israelis and 2 Indonesians, to work together and develop initiatives in a field of their choice to strengthen Israel-Indonesia relations. And you'll be hearing more from each of them today. While we've come to the end of this year's program, this is just the foundation block for what will come next. As we've seen from our existing alumni, this is just the beginning of what becomes a shared journey. In addition to ongoing mentorship and networking opportunities, we have organized a delegation of Israeli alumni to Indonesia and individual trips for Indonesian alumni to Israel. And we found that once that trust had already been established online, when people finally meet in person, the energy is really electric. And we plan more of these in-person meetups and delegations in the future. While this is just one of the initiatives that we're running here at the Israel Asia Center between Israel and Indonesia, I believe it's a critical one. The path towards normalization of relations between Israel and Indonesia won't happen overnight. It will take time and it will happen gradually. But at the end of the day, I believe it's all about people. And we're here to lay the groundwork for closer people-to-people ties. There's so much that we're already achieving through people-to-people relations via our network of alumni, speakers, mentors, advisors, and partners, now numbering in the hundreds. From business deals and delegations to cooperation and partnerships between Israeli and Indonesian universities, companies, and organizations, interfaith and initiatives in culture and sports. And these will ultimately lead to closer ties and cooperation between our 2 countries built on mutual trust.